More than 1,000 people gathered outside the Iranian embassy in London on Saturday, demanding freedom for Iranians and an end to the ruling clerical regime. Many protesters said they were speaking out because they had not heard from their family members back home for days amid ongoing violence and government crackdowns. Dr. Lale Tangsiri, one of the demonstrators, shared her fear and frustration. She said she hadn't been able to contact her family in Iran for about a week. "We don't know what's going on, if they're alive or not," she said. "But here we are standing beside them, and we are being their voice." Protesters carried the pre-revolution lion and sun flag, along with signs reading "Freedom for Iran" and "Be the voice of Iranians." Some held photos of Reza Pahlavi, the exiled son of Iran's toppled Shah, who has positioned himself as a potential transitional figure in the event of regime change. Communication with Iran has been extremely difficult because of government-imposed internet blackouts. On Saturday, internet access was partially restored for a few hours, but the monitoring group NetBlocks said the blackout appeared to have been reimposed later in the day. Families around the world have struggled to contact loved ones and understand the scale of the unrest. The protests initially erupted on 28th December over worsening economic conditions, but they quickly grew into nationwide demonstrations calling for the end of clerical rule in Iran. Human rights groups estimate that more than 3,000 people may have died in the crackdown, and over 22,000 have been arrested. While these figures have not been independently verified, reports suggest the violence has been widespread and severe. Similar demonstrations were held across Europe on Saturday. In Madrid, hundreds of protesters marched through the city center, carrying Iranian and Israeli flags, as well as life-sized white shrouds symbolizing those killed in the unrest. Organizers called for urgent international action, arguing that diplomatic statements and appeals to Iran's leadership had failed. In Paris, hundreds of members of the Iranian diaspora gathered at the Pantheon, a historic site honoring France's important figures. Many said they were still waiting to hear from family members in Iran, as the partial return of internet access allowed brief communication. Retiree Lale Sheikhani, who moved to France from Iran decades ago, expressed caution, warning that some protesters were being instrumentalized by international powers, including US President Donald Trump. Trump has repeatedly threatened to intervene in Iran, including warning of very strong action if protesters were executed. Meanwhile, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has blamed the United States and Israel for the unrest, describing the demonstrations as organized by foreign enemies. He accused foreign powers of attempting to destabilize the country, while asserting that the government is restoring order. The ongoing unrest reflects deep public frustration over economic hardship, political repression, and a lack of personal freedoms. For the Iranian diaspora, the situation is personal and urgent. Protesters in London, Madrid, and Paris say they're standing up not only for themselves, but for the millions of Iranians at home who cannot safely speak out. Many demonstrators carried placards reading "Freedom for Iran," "Be the voice of Iranians," and "Stop the killings." Some marched with their mouths taped shut, symbolizing the silencing of dissent inside Iran. Others highlighted the deaths of loved ones or friends, sharing stories of relatives who were missing or detained. The global protests show the scale of solidarity among Iranians abroad. They also underscore the frustration at the international community's limited influence over Iran's leadership. Calls for intervention have grown louder, with some activists urging a coordinated rescue effort to protect civilians. As the protests continue, both inside Iran and around the world, the central message is clear. Iranians want freedom, justice, and the ability to communicate with their loved ones. In the face of violence and information blackouts, the diaspora is determined to be their voice, keeping the world's attention on the ongoing crisis in Iran.
El pueblo iraní, tanto dentro y fuera, tiene claro es que este gobierno, hasta que no haya un masacre grande, no va a salir de allí. Ahora, la forma de democracia no va a funcionar allí. Diplomacia, comunicados, hablar no funciona, porque el tejido que está allí impuesto a la gente es muchísimo más sólido de lo que se imagina el mundo. Irán no es Venezuela cogiendo a Maduro, que se terminen las cosas.
Somos la continuación de la voz del pueblo iraní en todo el mundo. Intentamos llegar su voz porque el internet, teléfono está dentro del país cortado. Estamos intentando ser la voz de la gente fuera del país.
ایران دیگه جای تو نیست. خامنه‌ای تروریست، ایران دیگه جای تو نیست.